The audio time stretching abilities introduced in version 5 of FL Studio gives you the flexibility to adjust the speed of audio clips in the same ways that you are already familiar with MIDI parts. Any audio file with tempo information embedded within it will automatically be stretched to the tempo of your FL Studio project. And, depending on the algorithm used, this can occur without any alteration to the original pitch. If you alter the tempo of your project or alter the length of the audio, FL Studio will calculate the time stretching prior to playback, so that the time stretching has minimal impact on CPU performance during playback. If you do this while your song is playing, you will hear the pitch alter as you make the change, but FL Studio will recalculate the waveform as soon as you finish changing the tempo. To stretch the audio, either click and drag on the edge of the waveform display in the playlist or adjust the time knob in the audio clip's channel settings dialog. Next to the time knob is the time stretching mode drop-down. Here, you choose the algorithm that best suits your audio material. Resample means that time stretching will occur, but the pitch of the audio will alter to create the stretch. Then you have the four main stretch modes: elastic drums, elastic tonal, elastic slices, and slice map. Elastic drums mode is best for sounds and loops that are percussive in nature. Elastic tonal is best for sounds that are melodic or harmonic, such as vocals or full songs. Elastic slices will slice the material automatically if there are no slices yet. It will then stretch the slices using the same algorithm found in the Fruity Slicer plugin. Slice map will also automatically slice the material, but it won't fill in the gaps the way that elastic slices mode will. The auto mode will automatically select one of the above modes depending on if there is slice information included and also the severity of stretching used. Auto mode is also the default mode, but it doesn't always make the best choices. It's good to try the other modes just to check. The choice of mode really comes down to the material. Experiment with them all to work out which is the best and let your ears be the final judge. You may find that what works in one tempo is different to what works best at a different tempo. You may also find that tonal mode will work well for non-tonal material and vice versa. When a loop is brought into FL Studio and it already has tempo information embedded into it, then you should have no trouble time stretching it. But a loop without tempo information will not be affected when you change the project tempo. For FL Studio to stretch it then, you'll need to work out the original loop's tempo. The time stretch is calculated by referencing this original tempo. So next I'm going to talk about several methods for working this out. If it contains transient peaks that are in time, then you could visually line up the audio to the tempo grid in the playlist. You do this by zooming horizontally onto your file, then adjust the time knob until it lines up properly. You probably want to have the metronome on to check the timing. Hold down the control key while you're adjusting the time to get more precise. And you can keep an eye on what FL Studio is calculating as the original tempo by watching the hints bar on the top right of the FL Studio interface. Alternatively, you could try using the tempo detection function built into the options menu of the channel settings. This has varying degrees of accuracy depending on the material. You could also use the new tap tempo control invoked by right-clicking the tempo control and selecting tap. Play the audio and tap with your mouse to work out the tempo. This can work pretty well depending on how good your timing is, but if it's not perfect, at least your tempo will be in the approximate ballpark, and then you can adjust it precisely with the time knob. A quick and dirty method is to briefly turn up the knob next to the time knob, the multiplicator, and then alt-click the knob to return it to its default setting. Now you can stretch the audio in the playlist with the metronome playing until it sounds like it's in time. Once again, zoom right in onto the end of the file to line it up properly. Also switch off any snap settings so that you can adjust the length freely. Once it is correct, turn on Snap to alter the speed of the file as you wish whilst keeping it synced to the tempo. Once you have the audio synced with your project tempo, you may want to experiment with the pitch. The pitch knob in the channel settings will alter the pitch of your audio without altering the tempo. The pitch will be altered by a semitone for every 100 cents that you move the knob. Look at the hints bar to keep track of the degrees of pitch shift. With practice, you should be able to quickly find the original tempo of the file you are working with. Although the time stretching capabilities of FL Studio are extremely high quality, don't be surprised that with extreme alterations in tempo that the sound will start to have the distinctive grainy quality associated with time stretching.